And we're live. Welcome to Tuesday, the second day of Hour of Code in Vermont. And each day we have a guest speaker, a virtual speaker. And today's guest speaker is Donna McDonald, who you'll get to meet in a little while, who has been an inspiration to me and to a lot of Vermont educators. And we thought we'd start talking a little bit about Robot Rodeo, which Donna and I have done some work on together, and actually launch Robot Rodeo today. First of all, I'm Lucie the librarian. I don't think I started with that, and I thought I'd position myself outside today for a little contrast to the Vermont weather. If it gets a little noisy, I'll move back inside, but I am in sunny Arizona in Tucson today and broadcasting from this beautiful weather we're having in Arizona, and working with lots of Vermont schools through the power of technology in their Hour of Code implementations this week. I'd also like to mention that our Hi, Jasmine. We're live right now, so I'd like to mention that we have some students from Marlborough College with us today, which may ask Donna some questions and may ask questions about our presentation today and what's happening. They are all studying coding in the curriculum through Marlborough's course, Create with Code. So let's get started by saying that today is the launch of our second annual Robot Rodeo. I'm going to actually put some screenshots on so that you get to see how you can participate in Robot Rodeo, which is a Vermont initiative that tries to go beyond an hour of code. And let me share my screen so that you can see that. And then I'm going to put... We'll move over to the shared screen here, lock that up. I know it's a little crazy. Give me 1 second to get the right screen on. And, oops, here we go. Robot Rodeo. Actually, this is better. So Robot Rodeo started a year ago when we got the idea of doing a digital age version of Flat Stanley. Some of you may remember the Flat Stanley project, where Flat Stanley traveled to schools. Schools took pictures and videos of Flat Stanley in their neighborhood and then passed Flat Stanley on to another school. We thought, what if we did this with some robots that you could code? So we got some amazing robots for you to code, and we were able to get some wonderful sponsors. And I'd just like to mention the sponsors: Brain Technology and Ozobots, and Game Theory sponsored Dash and Dot, and also BB-8. Blue House Group sponsored I think a Sphero. Yes, they did sponsor Sphero. Sphero themselves gave us an extra Ollie and an extra Sphero. And Game Theory also bought a set of Cubelets. Plum Geek gave us a Wink. R4K2, a Vermont company, allowed us to use their Scribbler, and Zemery Software threw in a Moss, and iRobot brought us their Create2 robot, and we also have an MBox. So those are all the robots that we have that you can code. Actually, there's one more new one this year. We have the Bebot in our circulation. And what happens at Robot Rodeo is that the robots go to a host school, and they stay there for about a month. Right now, the robots are at certain schools, and you can sign up to host the robot by going to the Host the Robot page.
I emailed you. Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I can't see you.
Can you see the screen?
I see 3 windows with 2 other people, and your screen is sort of black. It says Lucie on it.
How about the rest of you? Do you see the Robot Rodeo?
Yes.
I do.
Okay, great. So I'll continue. And then on the, where was I on the Robot Rodeo? Oh yes, host a robot. How do you host a robot? Go to the Host a Robot page, and take a look at this colorful calendar. You may need to scroll to the right and look at the month that you would like to host the robot. Look at your own schedule regarding testing and maybe what schedules are happening. Take a look at the robots, learn a little bit about them either through the slideshow or online, and then see where we have vacancies where robots don't have a home yet. As you can see, most of them are already in a home for November and December. And right before vacation, those schools will send them to the January host. During that time, we ask that you learn to code with your students, that you give those robots a nice home and teach them some new tricks with code, take some pictures, and send them to our Robot Rodeo blog. And the Robot Rodeo blog has the pictures of the different robots, and as you can see, some videos that people have sent in. And let's just fill this blog full of evidence of our robots' visits. I am going to actually just mention the website. It's called robotrodeovermont.blogspot.com. And also, we'll just mention one kudos that we got recently. And we were one of 3 events that was included in the Robot Rodeo, in the Horizon Report in 2016. So that's pretty exciting news. I'm actually going to turn things over to Donna, who maybe can talk a little bit about her experience with Robot Rodeo.
I actually saw some of my kids as you were scrolling through the Robot Rodeo.
You did?
I did. So there's my kids right there, and those are my kids.
Right here?
Yep, those are my kids, and then above were that's my kids at Dynamic Landscapes, and those are my kids there coding Ollie, which we got through the Robot Rodeo. I lost it here. There they are. So my students, when they're coding, we have a month-long rotation where they code different types of robots each week, 4th and 5th graders, and they're in a team of 2 students, and they experience many different kinds of robots through that month-long coding of robots. And it's always, we do Hour of Code now, so they're coding on the computers right now, and then we move to the robots starting in January, February, and just have a great time coding robots. And we went through the rotations where, let's see if I can remember them all. We had Ollie and BB-8, the Finch, we had some Finches that we got through a grant from those folks. And then who else would I have? Oh, Dash and Dot, of course. So the kids rotate and have experience with all those different kinds of robots throughout the month. And we use Tickle most of the time, or Wonder Workshops. And then Dynamic Landscapes. I don't know if you want to talk about that, having the Robot Rodeo there. Did you want to talk about that at all, Lucy? Okay.
So what happened is that the robots go to all these different schools, and in April and May, the last school to have the robot bring them to our EdTech conference, Dynamic Landscape, where the teachers and the students sometimes get to show them off and show the tricks that the robots have learned. And this year it was great fun. Donna's kids came in full gear with bandanas and cowboy hats, and they were a big hit at the conference. We've decided not to make it a competition, to make it an exhibit, a celebration of all these different tricks that the kids have learned, and the kids are doing the demonstration. For the most part, if the kids can't come, then the teachers kind of show off the robots and what their students have learned. How many kids did you bring, Donna?
I think there were 6. I think I had 6 students there.
I know they were a great hit.
Yeah. They had lots of fun. They spent the entire day at Dynamic Landscapes. And it was great teaching the teachers. They really liked it.
You said that you used the Tickle app. A lot of the robots like Spiro and Ollie and different robots come with their own apps. Can you talk a little bit about the different apps and why you use the Tickle one?
Why do I like Tickle? Because it's so versatile. You can use program with Tickle using many different kinds of robots. They only really need to learn one, just Tickle, and it works well with all the different robots. Yeah, and I like it a lot better than the BB-8 app. The Wonder Workshop app has gotten a lot better. At first, I didn't think it was that great, but the new Blockly one is better. But we still use Tickle most of the time.
I think that's what I suggest, is that people start with Tickle, because Tickle does program so many different types of robots, so the kids have the same experience. It's very much like Scratch. So I usually say, if you're going to learn one, learn Tickle. And then also with Tickle, I find that the kids who don't have a robot in their hand can still be programming, because you can program the little orca whale, and you can practice. So if you have maybe one robot or two robots, everybody else can be practicing with the orca whale, and then when they get their chance to connect their device to the robot, then they can actually put their practice into application. The other things that I want to mention about that, different robots, is that Spark Lightning, Sphero has a Spark Lightning app, which has a lot of curriculum. More and more of these companies are hiring teachers to write curriculum to help you go through all the different possibilities with robots. And I've seen more and more great ideas for integrating them with all kinds of different applications and content areas, from math to social studies to language arts.
For sure.
Any curriculum, Donna? Content area?
Oh gosh, math especially, you can do so much. I don't think I've done too much with the other content areas, mostly math so far, but you could probably do it with so many. Language arts is going to be interesting too, creating stories around the robots. I think I would really like to do more with that.
Well, one of the things I thought we'd do this year is have a robot fashion show, and have people outfit the robots in different ways that maybe tell a story and tell narrative with code. And I got this great idea today from Twitter. I have to look up to see who shared it with me. It was one of the teachers who presented at the Google and Education on Air conference this weekend. But she suggested that she puts a cup, the large Dixie cups or solo cups on top, and Sphero is underneath. And then the kids can decorate it and outfit it to whatever characters they want.
Oh, that's so much fun. So it's kind of like combining the makerspace, little makerspace with your robots. I like that.
Right. And I thought that was a great idea, to just dress them up in character and be part of their story. What age groups do you work with, Donna, when you work with robots?
With robots? Mainly 2nd through 5th. Although I just found out that through a grant, we're getting a set of B-bots. So I'm pretty excited about that. I can't wait to code with my youngest K1 kiddos with B-bots.
Are you getting the blue bots?
Not getting the blue bots. We're getting the yellow bees. I haven't tried the blue bots. I've seen the B-bots in action. What do you think about the blue bots with the K1? They look a little bit more challenging.
The nice thing about the blue bots is that they do everything the bee bots do, except that you can also go to the next level and do Bluetooth control. But they also do everything the bee bots do, but they are not yellow and black. Those yellow and black robots are so cute, but they do have a clear outline, so you could see what they are, and actually you could probably create, I think they do have cases for them, or outfits for them you could buy, but I would have kids make outfits for them that look like bees.
Sure. What are those cars? What are the cars called? I was thinking those were the blue bots, but that's not the blue bots.
No, they're just a regular bee bot with extra functionality. So I might consider for a few more work exactly like the bee bot.
Okay.
But you also can use the Bluetooth. Okay.
Thank you for the suggestion, because it's not too late. We can switch it. But what are the cars? I wish I knew what those cars were called.
Yeah, I know what the cars are called also.
But I think I was thinking of those as being more challenging.
We do have a report coming out from Arlen and Sally. Both have B-bots. I think, no, not Arlen. Sally has B-bots right now, and she's going to put a report about the Blue Bot and what she's discovered about them on the Robot Rodeo. So we'll have more of that this year.
Oh, good. I would love to see, because I think we're buying them before the holidays because there's some good deals right now.
There are.
So we
I would
should be
suggest
purchasing soon. Okay,
So-
we will look into Blue Bots.
One last thing about Robot Rodeo, and I'm hoping will happen more this year, and I would encourage people to do, is that a lot of these robots you can share code. And if you do code them, like Tickle App, you could actually share your code with someone else, download it, and then send it to someone else. And I'm going to try to encourage more collaborations with schools so that you teach your robot a new trick, you download the code, send it to the school that's going to get it next, and have them build on that code. And maybe we could have almost like a telephone game, like you keep building on and see what the code looks like.
Love it. I think we tried to
more
do that. Oh, I just lost you, Lucy. I think we were going to try that with the school in Essex, but we didn't do it as much as we probably should have. The school that got Ollie after us.
I think that's when I would suggest that people really try this year to try to share code. The other piece that I've got a chance to experiment with is Cubelet and Aussie both have a Blockly now.
Oh.
And it's very fascinating. You can totally code the cubelets, not code, but you make a robot without any computers. But then once you have the Bluetooth cubelet, which is actually a little pricey, I think that Bluetooth is like $59, but I heard there's some great sales happening this month, right before the holidays.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to pick up another one. You can then go into Blockly online and actually reprogram the blocks. So let's just say you have a cubelet flashlight, the light. Instead of it just going on, you could reprogramming it so that it has goes on for 3 seconds, waits for 1 second, goes on for 4, those types of sequences. And then the code, that cubelet is now coded in a way that you decided. It's not just a regular light, it might be a strobe light this time.
I think you mentioned that for maybe my 5th graders.
I think that I would say that would be a little bit older than the 2nd or 3rd graders. Yesterday, I got a chance to try the Ozobots and use that coding program. What happens with those is you actually put the Ozobot right on the screen.
Okay.
And you hold it there, and it sends the code that you just wrote to the Ozobot.
Yeah, I've got a set of those. I got those when I was home the month of September, but so I was thinking I would have time to work with them then, but I never got around to it. So that's going to be my holiday break. I'm going to work with my Ozobots.
So if you have the old Ozobots, you'll have to upgrade them by flashing them. If you have the new Ozobit,
I have the new Ozobits. That's what I have.
So just go online.
Yeah.
And code it there, and then you hold the Ozobot right to the screen, and it transfers the code. It's a little funky, but it's kind of...
Yeah. I have a friend who did a review for a School Library Journal comparing the two, and so I was asking her, which one do I buy? So, yeah, I got the Ozobits is what she recommended.
So let's talk about your work with the librarians and ISTE and all the different roles that you do, Donna. You're so inspiring for everybody. And maybe we could start just by your role with the Library Association in Vermont and also work with the School Library Journal, etc. Tell us a little bit more about your involvement with that organization, those two organizations.
Okay. I've been involved with the Vermont School Library Association on their leadership team for about 10 years now. I started out as a legislative concerns person, keeping people updated with what was going on in Washington and meeting with our senators and representatives once a year during Library Legislative Day. Although I mainly met with our dear Bernie Sanders most of the time. The other two were often too busy, although Senator Leahy often met with me. So I started out with that, and then I moved into the coordinator job for dynamic landscapes, and I did that piece for 4 years, coordinating with VitaLearn, organizing the Dynamic Landscapes Conference in May, and I was the assistant last year. I kind of turned over that job to someone else. We try to keep jobs for about 4 years in VSLA, and then move on, training someone else. I've also been the ISTE rep for Vermont School Library Association for probably about 5 years, doing a dual role there, and I'm still the ISTE rep for Vermont School Library Association. School Library Journal, we started a partnership with them Let's see. It was at the Leadership Summit. School Library Journal has a Leadership Summit every year that travels to different parts around the country. We were in Seattle 2 years ago, and this year we were in Washington. And a couple years ago, I met up with Kathy Isazuka, who's the editor of School Library Journal, and started a partnership with her, doing some articles for School Library Journal in my ISTE role. Yeah, so it's been busy. So I haven't talked about the ISTE role yet. I don't know if you want me to get into that, but it's
Well,
been
tell us
crazy
what ISTE
busy.
is. For people who don't know, why don't you just tell us what ISTE is?
ISTE is the International Society for Technology and Education, and they have a conference every June that attracts, oh goodness, about 20,000 people. Maybe not that many, but 16 to 20,000 people probably. It's a huge conference. And that again travels across to different, whoa, that's some music, travels around the country. This year we're going to be in San Antonio. So I've been attending ISTE for I don't know how many years, I've lost track. But I've got involved with the leadership team for the Librarians Network, which is one of the PLNs for ISTE, and became their president. I was a president 2 years ago, but I'm still on the leadership team for ISTE, working with communications now. So I've been on the ISTE leadership team for, I think it's my 5th year now. But
So as you
involved
can
with
tell,
ISTE.
Donna has been very involved nationally and also locally. So I asked her here to talk a little bit more about code and ways that ideas that she has for implementing it, and why you're so committed to this, because you do more coding in your library and your school than most people I've seen. Why spend that much time? What's your reason?
I just think coding is a great opportunity for kids to have problem solving and collaborative skills, develop collaborative skills and teamwork, because starting with my youngest learners, they're in teams coding, and I sent some pictures on your blog today of some of my kindergartners coding, doing some unplugged coding in their team, but they're also working on the computers in teams. And I just love the way they work together and develop their collaborative skills. And it just gets them thinking. I think coding is great just to get kids getting those brain cells working. That's the biggest piece for me. Let's see, what else?
What advice do you have for teachers who feel like, I don't know code, I don't know that much about it? What happens when the kids get stuck and they can't use me as a resource, or I don't know the answer? I mean, what advice do you have for teachers who want to get started that feel a little intimidated?
You know what I love is the code.org curriculum. I was in a training, I put the guide in. I was in a training in a code.org curriculum, I think it was 2 years ago, and Code Studio is fabulous. What I do after we do Hour of Code is I set my students up, my 4th and 5th graders, in the code.org curriculum, and it starts at, I think there are 4 levels now, and if you go to code.org, and I think it's /studio, you can enter all your students' name, and it will track their progress as they go through different coding levels. But my students just love that anytime they have to code. And I have a few teachers. I have 3 third grade teachers that want to do coding with their students this year. So it's spreading.
Excellent. Steve and Jasmine, do you have any questions for Donna?
Well, I am doing, as Lucy knows, I am working on a curriculum, advanced grammar for English as second language with Scratch. And so I have, the premise is that grammar is based on patterns, and computational thinking, especially block-based coding, is based on on patterns. And any thoughts on that? Because I'm the first one ever to do this, and this is a very large school, and all I'm getting is blank stares.
On how to get your teachers involved, do you mean?
No, I'm going to be the first one to do this, period. There's not one teacher in that school who has ever done coding or Scratch or any of that. So my supervisor, the head of the program, is extremely excited. But in general, any tips for someone who does this for the very first time? And I am in the master's program, and it's my first time I'm teaching this. And
That's awesome. Good for you.
Well, all I know is what Lucie taught me, so that's it.
But I didn't know anything, and the kids are teaching me new things every day. I'm always learning something new. I wonder if your teachers, my teachers always come with their kids, but that's not going to help you. So you're going to have the kids by yourself. You won't have any different
Well,
teachers, right?
these are pre-MBA students, international students from all over the world. They're going to come from Russia, Kazakhstan, China, Japan. And my hope is that the students who have perhaps fluency issues, some of them are really good with computers, that instead of sitting there being disengaged, to rope them in this way and give them an ability to explore grammar in a completely different context. Does this make any sense?
I'm trying to imagine what you're doing.
Scratch.
Yeah, you're using Scratch. Wow.
Yeah.
I wrote Lucie has it, I wrote 19 pages on this for the semester.
Wow. I'm fascinated. I would love to see what you're doing. It sounds amazing. But you haven't tried it yet. You haven't tried it yet.
No, I haven't tried it yet. I have tried. Well, I used to do a grammar fair where students would have to write a paper on a particular language point and then teach it to the class and then present it at a grammar fair. That was a huge success. They brought students in from Boston to look at this. And but now, thinking about posters, what about if we had Scratch presentations that now can be sent around the world, because we have over 80 schools, and you can scale it up, and then, like, I'm thinking bigger at this point.
Wow, it sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. You're going to publish this? I mean, this sounds amazing.
First, I have to make it work.
You can do it. I just know it.
Any thoughts for a first time around teacher? Like what are my traps when walking in trying to tackle something like that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a teacher that's walking through.
Oh, sorry.
And then she's here very late. But your classes, your students are all online, right?
No, I have them face-to-face 3 times a week, 80 minutes each block. I have a grammar book called Azar, which is the grammar Bible. And I want to use the grammar Azar book in tandem with Scratch to create these interactive grammar projects that we then can send out to other students in our network to show what we have done.
It sounds amazing. I'm not sure, but you haven't had the students test it yet. They haven't tried it yet?
This curriculum was finished yesterday, and it's not fully done yet. So,
Yeah.
Well, I've had a chance to preview your work, Jasmine, and I think that next year you're going to be sitting here on this as a guest speaker, showing us what you've learned. You're braving the way. You are actually learning this yourself. You are modeling growth mindset. You're modeling risk-taking. You're modeling new ways of looking at curriculum. So I'm thinking that just go for it. And what works, great, and what doesn't work, drop it.
Yeah. I can't wait for you to try it out and see how it works with your students.
And I would suggest making a Scratch studio and then encouraging your students to publish their work like the best works in the Scratch studio. Maybe having them come up with criteria for like when it gets to what point should we move it into the studio to be part of an exemplar.
I think that's why I wanted to use the Dr. Scratch resource to vet those Scratch project, which should really go further.
We're almost out of time. I'm just going to see if Steve has any questions before we move on.
I do. So I'd love to hear a little more, Donna, about the way in which you kind of get your face time with the kids. So I work at Mary Hogan. My role is the STEM teacher, but also there's a challenge component to it. So my time with kids is not built into the master schedule. It's very segmented.
Yeah, the beauty is my time is worked into the master schedule. So I have a set time. The students come in, I have blocks of an hour and some extra flexibly scheduled time. But I have blocks of an hour where the first part of that time is a book choice time because I'm in a library. And then the second half of the time, the teacher comes back and it's a collaboratively planned time. So that's the time that I would do coding or makerspace activities, things of that nature. But it's built right into the schedule.
Yeah.
Plus I have flexibly scheduled time. So if I was doing a green screen project with some second graders last week, and we just didn't finish it in that block of time. So they came back the next day and we were continuing on. And yeah, it's nice to have that flexibility.
Sure, yeah. That's a little bit of, I'm trying to think about how I can grow this aspect of my role in the school. So my mind goes right away to do we do coding clubs for after school, so I know I have some set time, because I understand the conflict of I'm always taking kids from classes and something has to give, and
yeah, that's a great idea. Or lunch times, do you have any flexibility at lunchtime?
Well, so this is the issue I run into is my schedule literally changes every week. So sometimes yes, sometimes no. Which I like that. I like that spirit of ambiguity.
Mm-hmm.
But it's challenging with projects like this where I need some consistent face time so I can do more than just an intro. I want to be able to build their skills. Well, my skills. Who am I kidding?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Always building. Yeah. After school clubs, there's an after school drama club meeting right now at Orchard. There are kids, they're just getting out at Orchard. If you hear a lot of noise in the hall, a lot of parents are picking up their kids right now. But after school clubs are huge here. We have a Lego club and drama's meeting now, like I said, and all sorts of after school clubs. I think coding club would be great.
And I think one of the nice things about things that online, like code.org or VidCode or some of the Scratch about those, is that kids can continue them after they're with you, Steve. And the physical pieces of learning to code I love, but also having ways that kids can say, okay, I only had a half an hour in your class, and they can go home and you come back and like, oh my God, I did 3 more levels last night. And
yeah, well, that's why I really love the code.org curriculum. If you look into the curriculum, it'll track the students' progress, and every time they log in, it's going to set them, where they left off. It's fabulous. They've done a great job.
That's the code.org curriculum or the Code Studio?
It's Code Studio, but it's through code.org.
Okay, and I can, because then I would fold that, I would actually go right back on my computer after this to set up a hypothetical beta class. You know what I mean?
Yes. Sure. And it's all free. It's amazing what they provide for free.
Okay. Well, CodeBender is dead.
What is it?
A CodeBender where you could go and test code. They folded. That's very sad.
They're actually just changing priorities. So just going to clear that up about CodeBender. They're no longer free. You'll see them resurrect within different partnerships with some organizations. They're just kind of changing their roadmap a little bit. But we are out of time. I really, really appreciate everybody taking some time to be part of the Hour of Code Vermont guest series guest speaker series that we do during the Hour of Code Week. And I especially want to thank Donna for joining us. She's been an inspiration to all of us from the day she won the $10,000 grant from Code.org. What did you do with that grant? Maybe we could end on saying, like, you got $10,000 to spend from Code.org the first year that you did it. What did you do with that grant?
It was actually the second year I did it. In the second year of our coding, which is, I don't remember if they offered it the first year, the $10,000. But anyway, so I did get that 2 years ago. Oh goodness. I got so many different things from, I got 3 desktop computers, lots of iPads, a 3D printer, cameras. I got my fabulous camera that I use every single day, Wi-Fi camera. Oh goodness. They were
What did
just,
you get? What Wi-Fi camera?
well, this, like I said, is 2 years old, but this one that I love is a Galaxy Samsung, which won't
Okay,
blow up,
Galaxy.
but
So
I love
Donna,
this one.
along with what you got, I get emails almost once a month from somebody saying, do you know of any grants? We want to get some ollies. We want to do this. For schools that don't have a lot of access to funding, do you have any advice? Maybe we could end on that.
Sure.
With any advice for schools who don't have access to funding, what would be the one thing that you would say if they have a little bit of access to funding, or where else could they get more access to funding? Do you have any ideas?
I have 2 sources that I use a lot. I use Donors Choose. I've had several Donors Choose projects funded. If you look at donorschoose.org, and my PTO. My PTO has been a fabulous resource. It's so generous. So just go to your local parent organization and present a project and see what happens.
And one of the reasons that we started Robot Rodeo, actually, it wasn't the reason we started it, but one of the things that's happened with Robot Rodeo is while the robots are visiting, some parents and administrators have seen the robots in action with kids and have offered to buy robots after the robot leaves for another school. So we didn't expect that, but in several schools, administrator, a principal, a parent will say, oh my God, they're leaving? What can we do to get some? And they all help.
Yes.
What would be the one thing that you would, if a school only had a little bit of funds available, where would you suggest that they put their funds?
Which type of robot?
Yes.
Ooh.
Or coding, or anything to learn to code. It doesn't have to be a robot. Could be an application. Okay. If you had only a couple $100 or only $100, or
well,
where
I'm
would
going
you?
to say code.org. Get your kids in that program first. It's free, but I guess my favorite robot is probably Dash and Dot. I think that they're the easiest to use, and the kids love programming Dash and Dot. And of course, you're going to need to have your iPads to go with that to help programming those guys. But I think those I would go to first.
Okay. Thanks, Donna. We'll end on that note. Shout out to WonderWorks or Wonder Workshop.
Wonder Workshop, yes. And they're great for funding too. They'll provide grants too at Wonder Workshop.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Lucie.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.